Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Moments Unplugged podcast, a space of holistic growth, impactful and safe conversation, embracing every moment of our lives because we know the author. Cheers to sharing joy, peace, and love, and embracing your story. My name is Mandisa Singwane. Thank you for clicking play and tuning in today. I appreciate you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Moments Unplugged podcast. My name is Mandisa Singwane, and I'm your host. Season 2, everybody, Season 2. She's back. I know, it's been a minute, and I went completely silent. But I can explain, guys. I can explain. I believe my excuse is valuable, or what is it? Valid. That's the word. But yeah, your discretion is advised. I think that's how they say it. It's been a minute since I did this, so I'm a bit crusty and yeah, so nizonqolela, hey, today is just going to be a bit all over the show, I'm aware. But I'll get my feet again, okay? I'll find my feet. But yeah, so I'm pretty sure we're all like, oh, girl, where were you? Or why have you been gone? Okay, I'm gonna answer the question, okay? So I had, let's say, more or less 3 options to choose after my recess in June, which is when I believe I did the last episode, which was rest and take a break. And then obviously my recess ended and I came back to school. So I had 3 options, to be honest, and I had to choose 2. There was just no ways I was going to be able to fulfill all 3 to the best of my abilities. So yeah, the options were my academics, myself and my well-being, and the last one was my platforms. And so I'm pretty sure we know which ones I chose and which one had to take the back seat. So yes, I chose myself and obviously my academics. But I believe I've accomplished all I wanted to accomplish within the other 2. And hence why I now know that I can take on my platforms again and fulfill them to the best of my capabilities as well. I was also really afraid that if I did try and do all 3, it was going to become sort of like a chore and not really purpose-led or purpose-driven. And so obviously I wasn't going to fulfill what I would like to fulfill with the platforms. And so yeah, I had to be really honest with myself and just check myself, be accountable to myself, really, to be honest. Yeah, so I hope that makes a lot of sense to all those that were wondering. And if you weren't, I hope now you just know the information you didn't really want to know. But yes, guys, this is us and we're back. Alrighty, so with that being said, what's new, what's cooking, what's up with season 2? So you'll notice with this episode that there is a separate intro and an outro. And then in between, I'm speaking just alone and there is no song over it. From season 1, I've noticed that the sound itself can get really distracting. And so, I've chosen to go a different route and change that. So yeah, that was from feedback actually from one of my listeners. So if you ever have any critiques, I do take them into consideration and I do appreciate them. So yes, that's one change we've made. 2, another change we've made is distributors. So you'll realize that with the new season, it's not actually the same one that was the first season. I know our poster has changed. Actually, that needs a point on its own. Our podcast cover has changed. I like this girl a little more, not gonna lie. This one looks a little bit more, it has a lot more personality, okay? That first one, you could see we were starting off, right? But yes, our podcast cover has changed. But with that being said, you will notice that on your Apple Music or your Spotify, the sort of podcast you had followed or subscribed to is not the same one. And so, yeah, a lot of logistics had to change, but hopefully we'll all be able to migrate to the new one and refollow, re-rate, And yeah, I really hope we're going to have a great time and a smooth migration. There was a third point I was saying. Cover, intro, outro. What is that point? Migration, yes, I think I've said it all. So that is within the changes that have been made. If you're unsure about anything, pop me a message on any of my socials. I will answer happily so. Alrighty, so with the changes out of the way, the posting schedule, however, will remain the same. So it will be Sundays, bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks, which means more or less 2 episodes per month. That for me works a little bit better because I'm able to prep within the 1 week and just kind of listen to the Holy Spirit about what I actually need to speak about, and then record the other week. It gives me a lot of flexible time and I don't really want to cramp myself within the releasing schedule and say I'm going to do it per week. It would be really ambitious. Okay. So I'm going to be honest with myself and honest with you. That works the best for me, and I do think we did really, really well within the previous season and with that posting schedule, because it gave everybody time to listen before I had a new episode. So yeah, if you had a question about that, that will remain the same. Alrighty, so you will realize that from the moment I started the podcast, I would always say we will check in soon. And so I thought, why not check in actually and do a sort of, not life update, but how am I doing? And answer the question, how are you? So you guys actually really know how the speaker or the host of this podcast is doing, rather than just blabbing on, right? So like I said, I started my second semester of the year in July, after the rest and take a break season of mine. And so I've been really good actually, for the most part. Yeah, I've enjoyed a lot of the stuff that I've been doing in my academic sort of life. Really interesting times, and more than anything, I've been filled with so much gratitude because of the season that I'm in and the privileges that I'm able to living in so many answered prayers. And I'm so grateful that I'm conscious of them this time around. And they're not merely just a tick off my wish list, prayer list type of thing. So yes, in that aspect, I've been really, really good and filled with so much gratitude. Don't get me wrong. I'm not living on like a cloud. Not everything is perfect. But for the most part, it's been a great season. Yeah. And like I said, the theme of this season for me really has been gratitude. And so, yeah. And so with that question, I'm going to ask you now. Obviously, I will not be able to hear your response. But if you'd like to share it with me, go ahead. My socials are open for you. Also, let me pop it in here. We have an Instagram page, a Moments Unplugged Instagram page. Please go follow us. Please. And let's actually interact and communicate on that page and kind of just migrate off my own personal page. But it's still open. It's okay. It's okay. But yes, please do follow us on Instagram. That's where also a lot of the updates will take place and so on and so forth. So that would be great. But as I was saying, how are you? How's it going? What's the theme of your season? Yeah, and how are you feeling? Like I said, today's podcast is going to be as sweet and short as possible. I think we're running on like almost 10 minutes right now. And so with the last few minutes of this podcast, I would like to do or give some points on some knowledge and insights I've gained while I was away for the past, give or take, 3 months. So yes, let's get into those points. Alrighty, number 1, embracing duality. Like I said, I was in a great season of, or I am in a great season of gratitude. And that's the theme. That's the overarching theme of the season. But obviously, there will be those days where you're just like, cut the cameras. Let's just start again. I don't want to do this anymore, type of thing. And so over this sort of season, I've learned to embrace the fact that I can be really grateful and feel really sad or overwhelmed by the blessing or whatever the case may be, and it's all completely okay. I think initially I would blame myself for feeling sad within a good season. Like, why are you sad? Somebody else would dream to have this problem. But I now acknowledge that it is a problem for me and I am feeling that way, and it's okay. As long as I process it and then I move on from it, it's okay. Like, I'm not saying let's give up everything and I just give up and walk away. I'm just saying I'm having a moment and that is fine. So just being able to embrace the two things that are existing concurrently and they're very opposite from each other. I've had to grapple with that quite a bit. And I think I actually navigated it quite well. So yes, that's one of the knowledge points that I was able to gain while I was away. And then number 2 is very closely linked to number 1, now that I realize it and actually I'm about to say it out loud. But number 2 is find the blessing amidst the storm and the hardship. I'm really quite sure that actually just says it for itself. Oh, explains it for itself. There is actually always a blessing, and everything is for our greater good. And we know these things. But I promise you, when the storm has arrived, it's so difficult to remind yourself of this. But I guess I can be the one to remind you, if you're in your storm, that you can find that little sparkle, find the blessing, find the joy in that season for you, and just hold on to it and keep pushing through that hardship. And then the last 2 points, actually, I believe I can make one. I just don't know how. But number 3 was it's okay to slow down. And number 4 was routine will save you from unwanted chaos and commotion. Number 3, I feel like it's case in point. It's okay to slow down. That's as plain as it gets. Because I will tell you for free, I had about 12 weeks within this semester, and I think at week 5, maybe week 6, I got so finished. I was so finished, and I was like, girl, it's just been 6 weeks. Why are you falling? But I was just like, you know what? If I don't slow down, I'm not going to make it to 12. So it was funny. No, actually, it's funny in hindsight. In the moment, I was so frustrated. Like, get a grip. Like, what? No, but it happens, and it's okay to slow down. I do believe I took a weekend off then, and I just took care of myself. And then once I had my bearings again, I just got back into routine, of which then obviously gets me into point 4, which is routine will save you from a lot of unwanted chaos and commotion. Because let me tell you, when I got tired, I just didn't want to do anything. But because I did know that I had some sort of routine and things I had to accomplish within every day, I was able to still stay organized, and I was able to stay afloat, let me say it like that, and not everything kind of plummeted when I was going through it. Do you understand what I mean? So yeah, try and establish that routine that works for you. It doesn't have to be hectic. Oh my gosh, I'm up at 5 a.m. and I'm studying the word and then I'm going to gym. No, guys, please. Not all of us are built for that routine. Find the routine that works for you. I believe I found the one that works for me. It changes now and again, but even those changes I'm able to accommodate because the big sort of things that need to get done are always set in stone most of the time. But yes, that is it, I believe. And so with that is the end of episode 1 of season 2. I will be back in the next 2 weeks, same time, same place, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And just feel free to come into my inboxes. I'll be awaiting your feedback and your shake-ins. And yeah, thank you so much for listening and for tuning in. Don't forget to leave a rating, and we will check in soon. Bye, guys. And that's a wrap. Thank you for listening in today. I hope this episode was beneficial and enjoyable. Don't forget to leave a rating and a comment. Until next time, have a great and productive week. Check in soon.